So, listeners, welcome back to the Scale My Ecom Store podcast. And this is a show where we're going to be dissecting some wins, some fails, and some what were they thinking moments from the world of e-commerce marketing. I'm your host, as usual, Kath Langman, and joining me today for our new monthly marketing autopsy or roundup are three people who have probably seen more marketing disasters than a social media manager's anxiety dreams. So our lineup here, our panel of marketing detectives ready to solve the case of why did every brand lose their mind this mid-year sales season is, we have Chelsea, our brand growth advisor. We have Sally, our lead meta ads strategist and magician, and we have Narelle, who is our fantastic strategist who keeps us all moving forwards. Now, if you listeners have been wondering why your email unsubscribe rates have been climbing or why your meta ads feel a little bit like they're screaming into the void, I don't think you're alone. There have been some interesting things going on in the marketplace, in the digital marketplace, some fascinating, some a little bit alarming, some trends in how brands have been approaching their mid-year sales push. So on the show today, we're going to tackle a couple of questions. Firstly, why are so many brands extending their sales longer than a Netflix series that should have ended 3 seasons ago? And second, what is with the creative campaigns that feel like they might have been designed by someone who's never actually met their target customer? And some good stuff in between that as well. So grab your coffee, settle in, and prepare to either nod along in recognition or thank your lucky stars that your brand hasn't made it into one of those case studies today. So let's dive in to the madness that has been June 2025. So should we start with the elephant in the room, or should I say the sale that might have been running since the start of May for some brands? Where should we go? First, maybe the idea that some brands have had that the early bird gets the worm, but then kind of gets lost in the flock.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've noticed, like, certainly from mid-June onwards, sale extended, new offer. And I mean, for me, I feel like that timing is everything in sales. And the idea of, trying to get people early, you really have to think about what's going on in the whole sort of world and everyone's life. So if we're just coming straight from Mother's Day, I think it was, back in May, and then trying to move into these sales, I think there was a lot of brands who thought that they'll go from one to another, and it just hasn't worked out that so well for them. So, hence seeing the sale extended or the extra offer to try and win those sales, because just people weren't in that mindset for sale yet.
Consumers. Yeah. The panic pivot, perhaps.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of brands that are, as you say, Narelle, trying to go from promo to promo to promo, like backing up one against each other. And it just means that people get tired of it. Like, they do want to hear you talk about your products and the benefit of your products and who you are as a brand. And they want to warm to you as a brand and feel like some affinity with your brand as well before they actually want to buy as well. They don't want to be just promoted to all the time, essentially.
It's like everybody's shouting about their sale at the same time, and then nobody's voice cuts through.
Yeah, and people just shut off from it.
And then they end up just becoming one of those brands that's known for being on sale all the time. And then you have that struggle where you can't sell full price because your audience hasn't even had the opportunity to learn about, the pain points that you're solving, because all they're hearing from you is price-based information and communication.
That's right.
Not to mention discount percentages creep up to levels that would make every accountant absolutely weep. We've seen some steep ones out there in the marketplace.
I reckon there's been a lot more 40 and 50% off ones this year, this end of financial year, than there has been previously. I reckon previously I've seen a lot more 15% off and 20% off, but it's everyone's just driving so hard to get a portion of the market that they're having to discount higher and higher and higher. And it doesn't
it
give
makes
you
you
brand
wonder
longevity.
though, do they have to, or do they think they have to
I think it's a thing
to
they
get it
have
to work?
to. Yeah. And I think discounting is definitely a way to capture people's attention, but it's only for that limited amount of time, because as soon
It
as you're
should
not on
be.
sale, they're not going to listen anymore. Whereas if you can build your brand and learn how to speak to your target customer effectively and solve the problems that they have, and all those like fundamental things that we talk about with new clients all the time, if you know your target customer really well and you know your buyer journey really well, then you don't need to resort to discounting all the time, because you know what they're after and what information they need at those different stages of the funnel, rather than just going, here's the discount.
Well, sharing a discount like that all the time is it does make you wonder whether brands perhaps don't have any other reason why they, or haven't identified any other reason why their customers would want to buy, and that's literally the only thing. But you know, I guess, you know, with these really extended long sales, what is your opinion about whether these brands have done the groundwork in between to bring fresh eyes and fresh people into their sales funnel?
I certainly hadn't seen the lead up to this, a lot of that lead generation of traditionally, like it's a giveaway and you're getting people to sign up to database. I didn't see a lot of that going on with this one. I suspect we'll see it again leading up to Black Friday, because it seems like that's sort of approach is attached to Black Friday, but it doesn't need to be just that. It certainly can be new. In fact, you know, we try and get all of our clients on board with doing this every month. You know, you want to generate new eyeballs on the brand all the time, not necessarily through just a giveaway, because that can also lead to just getting people who want to win something. But you know, the engagement content that leads through to blog posts that are really educational and they're learning about your product, you know, that works really, really well.
And I think you're right, Narelle. Like, you know, just before Black Friday is when you see so many lead generations out there. But then also, if you're only doing a lead gen in the lead up to Black Friday, you're limiting who you're attracting to generally people who are interested in the sale. And so you're filling your email list with those discount hunters as well. Whereas if you do several during the year, targeted in different ways and themed around different ways, then you're going to get different types of customers and probably more genuine customers at other times of the year as well.
Yes, and maybe considering some that are in collaboration with other complementary brands or you know, personalities. The quality of that list is likely to be quite different, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I mean, where like has been the content that attracts new customers who perhaps haven't seen these brands before? Is, you know, is there perhaps like a, I don't know, like a fear that none of it's going to work because of AI, or is it?
I think that because these larger brands who can afford to get away with, you know, these heavy discounts and things like that, they kind of set the pace of the scene. And so as middle sized sort of business, people are like, oh gosh, you know, that must be what works because they're doing it. And so I could be following suit with that. Like, it's very dangerous, because I think that there are a lot of brands out there that don't actually check the numbers first, you know.
Absolutely.
They go out there with these offers, and while they feel like that, you know, they're generating the sales because, you know, they've got the orders coming in, at the end of the day, they do their numbers, or the accountant does the numbers, and it hasn't been profitable for them. So it is quite dangerous. It's important to for people to think about their promotion in advance of actually seeing what everyone else is doing and then following suit and working out what they can afford to do and still, you know, be in the
stick to stick to their guns with that.
It's so dangerous for smaller brands, as you say, Narelle, to be looking at what the bigger brands are doing and following whatever their discount is, because those bigger brands generally have, you know,
margins.
Huge margins. They have much more product. They have, you know, much bigger margins and better profitability per product. And if they're doing 40% off or 50% off, and their small business, compatriot is looking at that and going, well, I have to do that as well, but they haven't got that margin. And so that's where you fall into that trap of not having profitability. And
and not
help.
only have they not got the margin, but they haven't, like bigger brands are generally doing the brand awareness type marketing in between times throughout the year.
Yep.
Again, because they have the budget for that. Or they, set aside budget for that. Again, I don't think a lot of smaller brands are doing enough of that. And so they're kind of, just kind of hammering the same database of customers with discounts again and again and again. So just on the topic of content though, something that I've noticed, I don't know whether this is really a major issue for brands at all, but it feels to me like a little bit of creative disconnect that is going on with some brands. I'm not about to name any brands that I'm going to be critical of, but I'll describe a couple of scenarios. I've seen a brand running ads, a skincare brand, not ours, running ads with the tagline "Powered by Cactus." And, fair enough, there's some pretty amazing skincare ingredients that come from cactuses. But in this creative execution kind of looked like something pulled from a tech startup's playbook about renewable energy, like a power grid type visualization, but for a moisturizer aimed at women, 25 to 45 that perhaps are interested in natural skincare solutions, or a bed and mattress brand promoting their sale with the tagline, it's excellent, because at tax time we all love Excel spreadsheets.
I love a pun, but that's really not hitting it for marketing, is it?
It feels like a little bit of a devoid of emotion, and maybe a bit of a disconnect between the visual language and the target audience, maybe.
Yeah. Do we think it might be coming from, there's now a lot of AI tools out there that generate all of this creative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's certainly a lot of talk around that you need to be getting more ads into your campaigns to test and adjust, because the Meta wants you to be doing that. But so leaning into this AI, people are just like, oh, well, the job's done. And not even looking at what's being spat out, and now
having some judgment about it. I mean, they probably are getting some engagement, but it's probably like people just like me being really puzzled. What does this mean? It takes me 5 minutes to work it out.
I also wonder if it's that case of being deliberately putting something out there that's cringy.
Maybe
to stand out, like it isn't that polished content. Like we see a lot of those ads that look like they're made in MS Paint, and that's
true,
and they stand out because you go, what the heck? And and you look.
I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, there's been a lot of those recently. I've seen.
Yeah, very true. So I mean, maybe you're right. It could have been AI instead of some designer thinking that tech bro analogy would work.
I mean, as always, you've got to throw things out there and test them and see if they work, don't you?
Very true. Very true. Narelle, I think before we hit record, you were talking about another bit of an issue that's quite separate from marketing strategy that you've seen happen a fair bit at the moment.
A bit of the challenge at the moment is just, all the platforms are making their changes, and they will continue to do this. So it's certainly something for people to think about, is with these changes that happen, they don't necessarily roll out a notification to everyone to say that they've made the changes for starters. And we've seen a lot of accounts where integrations have been disconnected, and it could be just because they needed to tick the terms and conditions for a policy update or something like that. So without that, then the integration is gone. So I even had one this morning with a client when I was in a call with them. We were just checking some of their flows actually, and that integrates with another platform for a video effect on there. And we realized that when we previewed the email, the video wasn't even playing. It was just this random kind of sketchy picture that's missing from email, and it's an integral part of that email.
Right.
And it was the first part of a flow. So I think that we weren't sure how long it had been like that. And it was just another one of these important things where you need to probably go, not a set and forget thing. Maybe every month go back and check those integrations, check that, go through the whole process sometimes of, even placing an order through your website, especially if you start to see things dropping off. Or if you check your stats around emails, you're starting to see, open rates decline. It might be something that's within those applications that's just failing because of the changes within the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those sorts of integration dropouts happen a fair bit with, the Meta channel and Klaviyo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What about some of the good stuff that you've seen happening? And Chelsea, I know you found a really good ad that grabbed your attention. You want to share a bit about
Shall I put my
that?
screen share on?
If you've got it, yeah.
Yep, let me just do that. So I was getting lots of ads from Booty, the beautiful brand of bamboo clothing and underwear, and I am definitely one of their repeat customers. But what I really loved about the positioning of this sale was it's called the Feel Good Sale. So first of all, they didn't talk about it being end of financial year, end of financial year, end of financial year.
Or even mid-year sale.
Yeah, or even like, and mid-season, or all of those types of words. So it was a different kind of positioning to begin with. And then they're offering a free gift with orders that were over $200, but the free gift was a limited edition colorway that's not available to purchase separately. So I thought that was a really good sort of sense of urgency kind of push for
and
fans of the brand.
Scarcity kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the actual ad, I just click on play. It's very loud in my ears.
There we go.
I loved that little bit at the start with the little word hunt. So we just wait till it goes all the way through and I'll pause it. There we go, the feel good sale. Yeah, there we go.
Love that.
Yes.
Like it really captures your attention and makes you want to watch and see, hang on, what are the
Yep.
words?
What are the words? And it spells out gift with purchase. Even the fact that they've, this is on the nice brown tones, which is similar to the free gift. It was just something that literally stopped me scrolling. And I noticed as well, like it's quite late in their sale. This ad only went live yesterday. So, and I did, hop on their website and have a look. So I'm definitely in their funnel. And I've seen a few different ads throughout the course of their sale being live. But this one, it only just went live yesterday. And it got me thinking about the brand again.
Yeah.
So
Feels like a bit of a mid-sale strategy to re-engage the audience potentially. So people who have been engaging with the earlier content but haven't
I
bought yet.
agree. Yeah, because I definitely would be, in the middle of their funnel because, I saw the initial ads, went on the website, didn't purchase. So that classic, warm audience isn't quite across the line. But yeah, I just thought it was a really different approach that got my attention instead of just that constant use of like end of financial year, mid-year sale. Yeah.
I love this because like when you sent it through and I was looking at it, I was like, okay, there's movement at the start to capture people's attention. There's there's that hook of the gift with purchase. And I think as soon as you see gift and with, what's coming next.
Yeah.
And so it's going to make you hang around and find out, okay, what is this gift with purchase? And so you're more likely to watch the whole video then. And then the other thing that I noticed on it was as they are showing the products, the fingers are kind of feeling the fabric. And so there's that, trying to convey the softness and the tactile feel of the fabric itself is probably a really good thing as well. Because people always want to know how it feels and what it drapes like and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's so true.
there's a lot of good strategies in that one.
I love that.
Definitely love that positioning, like not that end of financial year sale. One of our clients, You by Kate, they positioned their sale differently this time through the mid-year sales. They did a vault sale, which, really does kind of set them apart. It felt very exclusive. And they did feel like that helped get in front of people or get the attention of their customers and new customers as well, through the ads and the emails that were going out.
And it kind of ties in nicely with the fact that it's jewelry as well and gemstones, right? Like, of course, they're going to have a vault that's got the precious stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one because it felt like they were offering things that they've held back. We've kept these for ourselves and now we're offering them out to you guys. And it's like, well, this is your last chance to have them. Like, they won't be there anymore.
Definitely part of their strategy as well was a bit like the booty, is that they had exclusive things in the sale that weren't available before that. So they had some one-off pieces through the sale. So for people who, because they have such loyal customers that might have all of the other sort of sales stuff that was there were all these exclusive one-offs that sort of meant that they could get something as well in the sale.
And just further to that, one thing I just thought I'd highlight as well, because it was that vault sale, very exclusive, all that kind of thing. One of the ad creatives that we put out there was of Kate and Lulu actually creating a couple of those pieces that were one-offs as well. So there was that, further reiterating this is a one-off. This is, here it is being made and now it's for sale. You can go buy it, but there won't be any more, kind of thing.
I guess it just sort of shows in a sale you don't have to have just the stuff that you're trying to get rid of. Sometimes you need to have a little bit extra, especially at this time when everyone is on sale and there's those heavy discounts. What is going to set you apart? What's going to get your customers to buy? Because right now, the thing is, though, if people are going to be buying, they'll buy now because they know that there's deals to be had. So if you can engage, it's a good time to be doing it.
What about a bit of a around the room roundup of recommendations for our listeners, perhaps thinking about their next either sale campaign or a product launch promotion based off what you've been seeing? Let's discount the fact that, yes, platforms might disengage. That's something that we should all be checking on a monthly basis for sure. But from a strategy perspective, what are you thinking?
I'd be thinking you make sure you know your target customer really well so that you can align your offer with what is going to suit them and what's going to get them across the line. And even before your sale and even during your sale, make sure you're reiterating the unique things about your brand and your product. Like, you're selling yourself, not just discounting the product to get it out there. You want to actually connect with them and build a relationship with this person, so that they will come back and buy again.
I heard an interesting way to describe that last week. You've got to focus on telling your missionary story, not your mercenary story.
So nice.
It's like falling in love with the problem that you solve, not the solution you're selling.
Exactly.
I think it's off the back of that sale as well, it's really important to make sure you have that audience. So if your email list is only, a few hundred, because everybody starts somewhere, then you need to actually grow that audience so that when you do have that product launch or, that sale that's launching, you've got more people that you can actually market to. So you don't forget that needs time. You can't just grow your list for a week before. That's not enough.
Absolutely.
Saying that, you also need to make sure that it's a good, clean list as well, because I know that there's some brands out there who like to shout about how many people are on their databases, and their open rates aren't that great. So it's kind of, you're just paying for vanity metrics then, because people aren't even engaged with the brand.
And then you're literally paying because of the size of the list as well. Your Klaviyo monthly cost is, ridiculous because you've got all this, dead weight essentially on the list that you don't need.
Yeah. If they're not making you money, you need to get rid of them. Or re-engage them first.
Yes.
If they won't re-engage, get rid of them.
You need a good sunset flow.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, it kind of ties into that email side of sales and campaigns, and throughout the year as well, is just making sure you're segmenting your list and, going out with different messaging throughout your campaigns to the different segments of your audience. If you're a brand that, sells for example, skincare and hair care, you'll have two different audiences there. So, if you keep shouting about the skincare offer, those hair care people, they will just disengage. They won't care. They won't even realize that the sale would help them. So, knowing that those two people are there, and it helps with the ads as well, instead of just having one ad that goes out, it's all standard, you can even tap into some of those problems that your customers might have, but with some sale messaging on there as well.
Yeah, so true. Love it. Well, I think maybe one last thing that I might mention is just for our listeners to check out our brand new and free resource, our Ecom Diagnostic Quiz, which is a tool that we've been as a team working on very hard for quite some time. It's designed to help brands of all different stages of growth, from launch to scale, to identify what their current bottlenecks are and what they need to do to move past that and grow to the next level of their business. And also it has a really nifty revenue growth calculator, which I love. Thank you, Narelle, for making that awesome tool. Because it doesn't just say, if you get this much traffic, you're going to make this much money. It's got a lot more nuance, and also gives some strategic direction as well, which is really, really cool. So if you haven't gone to check it out yet, listeners, go to productpreneurmarketing.com/quiz, or head to the show notes page for this episode and click the link. That's our fun little autopsy/roundup episode for this week. Thank you, team, for joining me on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Kat. That was awesome.
Thanks, Kat.